All right, welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. When it comes to cutting-edge materials that make your project easier, that make the finished product better, more energy efficient, the guys trust A.G. Hines Company. I was down there this week to take a look, and they had people buzzing in and out of their store. It's a great place, located right on Hines Street, naturally, in downtown Knoxville. They've got it's a great place just because of the stuff that they have dating all the way back to the opening of the store 100 years ago. And it really tells you what kind of quality business you have when you've got the old horse-drawn carriage sign on the wall. That's what it looks like. It's a cool place. Get down to A.G. Hines Company. They can take care of you. If you're in a do-it-yourself mode, if you got a home improvement project, that's the place to start. They've got everything you could want, even during these shortages that are still going on. They're going to have more than your big name stores because they're local. They're not having to spread stuff from, well, how come that's going to Topeka and not here? They don't have to worry about that. They are just here. They're not in Topeka. A.G. Hines Company. All right, let's welcome in Bob Hodge, longtime sports writer, longtime member of this panel.
Also not in Topeka.
Also not in Topeka. And right down there, Chuck Cavaleris, only in Topeka in his mind.
That's right.
The Cavaleris line, once again, I give it up to you, man. We were sweating it a few weeks ago in the Florida game. You were a half point. You had it 4.5. It was 5. I salute you, Chuck. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's almost, if I didn't know better, I'd think you've gambled. All right. Let's talk about some specific plays. Some of these will get more discussion than others. Some of them I just expect you to go, yeah. But here's the first one. Matt Corral fakes a handoff, drops back, stops, is swallowed by 2 UT defenders who steal the ball and race for a touchdown. It doesn't look like a normal play. It looks bizarre on television. You could tell something was up, so I wasn't surprised they called it back, but they ruled it forward progress. I thought either he heard the whistle, that's what they were saying on the broadcast, or it looked to me like hand it off, stand there, and then take a shot. I think that's what it was. But ESPN never showed you what was going on downfield, how many receivers were out. But anyway, regardless, the thing comes back. It's not a touchdown. So thoughts on that call and the fact that they ruled it forward progress?
I really thought he didn't hear a whistle because the 2 refs that would have blown the whistle were the ones running down the field with him. So if one of them had blown the whistle, they would have stopped.
Well, I wonder if he thought he heard a whistle. That was the idea.
Well, that doesn't matter.
Oh, I know. I know. I agree. I agree.
I can think whatever.
No,
I'm just telling you what the SEC
I
network
was shocked when it came back because it just looked like a pretty good play to me. I agree. It almost looked like they were doing some kind of tricky thing. Yeah. But the fact that somebody in the booth ruled as forward progress.
It went to a review.
Nah, didn't like that.
You thought it was due to?
It's quarterback protection. I mean, I think that's what they've done now. You know, it's like that unabated to the quarterback. They pretty much blow the whistle and it's dead. And in this case, it hurts you, right? Because you're sitting there and you got the 2 guys, and I think the officials were kind of sitting there going, why did he stop? And so they're confused going, oh, we're about to see this guy get jacked up. And so they blew it and called it. And so, you know, that's what I think that they looked at, and unfortunately that hurts you because I do think it was the play where he's trying to hide it down here and act like nothing's going on, and then he's going to toss it deep when you rest. And so I think that play shouldn't have been called the way it was because he's taking the advantage. Even if he heard a whistle, there wasn't a whistle, so the ball's free.
Yeah. And if he'd heard the whistle, and I know you might see it more times in the pros, if you think the play's over, wouldn't you just throw the ball on the ground or something? Wouldn't you, instead of just standing there?
I'm just saying, the only reason I brought up the whistle, that's what the SEC Network guys kept going back to. They thought that's what it was. They never mentioned the trick play, which I thought it was.
But the people that I heard or that they were talking to, who heard a whistle? I don't think anybody else did. So
no.
But I'm just saying, it was a bad call.
I shouldn't have mentioned the whistle.
No, I mean, you should, but it just doesn't hold water.
What I was getting is, he went back and it looked bizarre. It was either he thought there was a whistle, which I didn't think it was, or it was a trick play, which I thought, we talked at halftime. I told you, I thought that's what that looked like.
Well, it looked so bizarre. I actually thought the play had been blown dead.
Right. It looked weird.
I mean, it looked so strange.
Josh, did Tennessee get jobbed on that one?
I would argue that if I'm Tennessee for sure, because the explanation doesn't
you're not
seem
Tennessee,
to back up.
I want you.
That's right.
Did they get jobbed on it?
Yeah, I think so. I think that should have been a Tennessee touchdown.
Okay, go ahead with your point. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make it clear. If I were Tennessee, is a nice way of skirting it. I wanted to put you on the spot.
But, the TV broadcast caught the Tennessee fan that had this.
The shock look.
I have no idea what's going on, which could be applied to many Tennessee games, of course. But in that instance, he spoke for many of us.
Yeah, it was.
I had no clue what was going on.
Yeah, I think look, bad calls happen. I thought that was one. And unfortunately, the touchdown, which could have made a difference. The game doesn't play out the same way, but still.
I thought it was going to be an illegal procedure. I thought they'd stopped the entire play.
Yeah, it was just kind of. It was so weird because it was almost like he's just. It wouldn't have been weirder if he just handed it to him.
Vols are up 8-7. Heupel kicks the extra point rather than going for 2. Right call?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't have a problem with that. Into the first half, Heupel takes a field goal to make it 24-12 rather than take one last shot at the end zone. There were some murmurs about that. Get the points, get within 2 touchdowns.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, I told you we'd move through some of these. Here's one. Under 12 minutes to play, UT runs on 1st and 19. Then they have 2nd and 16. They run the ball again. They throw on 3rd down and have to punt. Second guess of play calling there?
Gosh, that was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, and you guys in the first segment talked about Evans. There actually was a couple of holes that you had that closed up fast that would not have closed up with Evans. So maybe if he's in the game, and I can't remember specifically how those runs went, maybe you can do that and you get 6, 7, 8 yards.
Yeah.
But as it is, you had a hole, you gained 2 or 3, and it looked worse than maybe the calls would have been.
And I've never been a fan of the coaches who say, well, we just call the plays, regardless of who's in there. No. We trust our guys. No, if you know Evans isn't in there, you don't call a play that only Evans could get something off of. Chuck, do you have a problem with that play calling there?
Oh, yeah. You're going backwards,
All right, the biggie that started the nightmare. 4th and 27. Hendon Hooker hits Jacob Warren for 26 yards. Warren appeared to have the ball tucked at his waist in his left hand when he went down. If he's got it in his right hand, and I'm not trying to bash the guy. You're not thinking at that point must put in right handed. But if he had it in his right hand and stretched it, it's first down. I thought as it looked, there's no way to overturn the call because he didn't have a great angle. And second of all, it looked to me like it was the right call. But I'm not wearing orange-colored glasses. I know people who, we got robbed. I thought it was low here. I didn't have as big a problem with that one as I did the Matt Corral play that was so weird.
Yeah.
This just looked like bad break for you that you didn't have the ball in the right hand when you went down.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, and it wasn't as bad a call as the one in Pittsburgh, right? I mean, where you looked at that game with Hooker running there to close to the goal line. That was a really bad call, right? I mean, that was a bad call. This is a call that's a judgment call, right? You could have gotten him, they could have spotted it as a first down, and you would have had no film evidence to say it shouldn't have been. In the same way, if you make that call there and you say, well, we reviewed the film, we don't have anything that tells us it's different than what was made on the field. So in that case, you just can't go. It's a bad call for you.
The call on the field's going to stand, right? Yep. I mean, you have to have a camera angle right down the line that shows he stretched it over the 40.
Yeah, and I don't think even if you had it down the line that he did.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I didn't think on that one he did.
Exactly.
Josh, Bob, if you had a problem, did you have a bigger problem with the spot of that ball or with the Matt Corral play?
I had a bigger problem with the Matt Corral play. It looked from way up in the stands, it looked like a first down. But where did his knee hurt?
And you were in the other end zone, yeah.
Yeah, where did his knee hit? I mean, I could understand them marking it short. I can understand them not overturning it. The other one, there's just no explanation for.
And I'm pretty sure,
unless it's just protecting the quarterback.
I'm pretty sure it was the trail official who was like 15 or 20 yards away racing down to try and get exactly where the ball is supposed to be marked. It's not like he was coming in from the side. The way I'm pretty sure that's correct.
My feeling is this, and everybody can disagree all they like. There are bad calls in every game. I guarantee if you listen to Ole Miss today, they're screaming about some calls that didn't go their way. It's hard for me to ever say that the refs. You got 60 minutes. I've seen my teams lose plenty of games because of bad calls. You got 60 minutes to overdo it.
The Corral play came in the first quarter.
Yeah.
This play came in the fourth quarter. Which one's everybody going to be talking about for forever now? It's going to be the
throwing things.
Or throwing things forever now.
Well, let's come back and talk about that. I want the players out here next, and we'll chat about what was going to be a great night. I was prepared to do a whole thing on how spectacular that was and how it could help recruiting. I was going to get these guys. Now we'll ask, what's that going to do for recruiting? That's next. Come on back on the Sports Source.